In the Netherlands, hundreds of children held a youth convention for peace. They celebrated that the Dutch have been living together in peace for 75 years since the Second World War. They talked in workshops about the question, what peace is exactly? And they depicted it in a large work of art. The mayor threw a dove of peace into the air, and they practiced together with the so-called dice of peace. This had been introduced at 15 primary schools by Carlos Palma, the inventor of the dice, in the week before the event. In this film, he tells about the origin of this dice and why is it being used all over the world.
So, as a teacher, I was always with this question in myself, what is my role? What can I do for peace? Especially after the first experience in Jerusalem, I was in a Palestinian school and one student asked me, Mister, what peace means? And I didn't understand what he wanted to know exactly. And he said, yes, what we can do one day when there is not war. And for me it was a shock. Because I understood that this generation born in war and grew up in war. So they never had the experience, the existential experience of peace. One day something happened that was very important to my life. A very simple thing. I was walking on the street in the Arab side, and the youth, Arabs,
de Arabische jongens,
they thought that I am a Jewish.
dachten dat ik Jood was.
They start to throw these
En
stones.
stenen te gooien.
Each one have a bag with stones.
Ze hadden allemaal een zak met stenen bij zich.
So I was in a corner like
Ik stond
this,
in de hoek
and I couldn't
en ik
escape.
kon geen kant uit.
So the soldiers that they were far from me,
Dus de soldaten die ver weg
they
stonden,
start to run to help me.
renden naar ons toe om mij te helpen.
I knew already that if they come on time, they will take those youth and they will finish in prison in very bad conditions. So I told to the youth, go fast before the soldiers arrive. They start to run, and when I saw one of them fell down and blood was in here in his leg, so for me it was spontaneous to take my handkerchief to stop his blood. And I told him, run far away, before they come. But after 3 days, someone dropped on the door of my house at night, and with a big surprise was the same boy, who wanted to return me my handkerchief clean and a big bread that his mother prepared for me. And for me it was a light to understand that if I want to contribute to create a culture of peace, I have to start with a culture of love. And it's a love that's not only feelings, a love that is a big challenge. Years after I was working in Cairo, in
Werkte ik
Egypt,
in Egypte, in Cairo,
in an American school
in een Amerikaanse
close to the
school,
pyramids.
dicht bij de piramides.
And again a revolution.
En weer was er een revolutie.
Again the students go to the revolution.
En weer gingen de studenten naar
And
de
they
revolutie,
died.
naar het plein. En dat ze waren doden.
I couldn't resist anymore.
En ik kon er niet meer tegen.
And I said, I have to do something.
Ik dacht, ik moet iets
So that night I took a decision.
Ik nam een beslissing.
And I did a dice
Ik maakte een dobbelsteen.
that I called the
En
dice
die
of
noemde ik
peace.
dobbelsteen van de vrede.
Have 6 sentences.
Het 6 zinnen.
Those are the
En
sentences.
dat zijn de zinnen die je hier
You
ziet.
can read it.
Ja, iemand kan ze hardop lezen.
Ik wil vrede met iedereen.
Ik wil-
Luister.
Ik luister.
Ik deel met anderen.
Ik deel met de anderen.
Wij helpen elkaar.
We helpen elkaar.
Ik maak anderen blij.
Ik maak de anderen blij.
En ik vergeet.
En ik vergeef.
Thank you. So those sentences were just to try to live for peace.
Dat zijn dus zinnen
So I proposed to the students
die dienden om voor de vrede te
that
leven.
every day when we arrive to the
En
class,
mijn voorstel aan de klas
we
was
take 2 minutes.
dat we elke morgen 2 minuten nemen.
So every day a different student
En iedere dag een andere
will
leerling.
throw the dice of peace in front of the class.
Die gooide de dobbelsteen
On the floor.
op de vloer voor de
And
klas.
the sentence was up.
En boven lag dan de
That
zin.
was the program to
And
live
that
for
was
peace during all day in class.
En dat was het motto om die dag te leven in de klas.
So at the beginning, when I proposed to throw the dice every morning, the students they thought it was a kind of game, and they were so excited. Everyone wanted to throw the dice, till they understood that it was a commitment to live for peace. Because at the beginning, I was the first one to have to share my experience living the dice. So I was the first one who started to say, well, today, for me, this sentence was that and that, I did this and I did this. So they start to understand, oh, Mr. Carlos is living the sentences. So they start also to practice. And for me it was an incredible surprise because I never expected that change. I remember the first who changed were the boys because they were waiting for the time of the break to play football. When we start to throw the dice, one by one, they start to renounce to the break, to be in class for half an hour of this break, just to help the students who have problems in math or in English to finish the exercises. I start to see a new motivation in class, a new sharing, because in this context of revolution, to speak about peace and to propose something that build peace in your heart, for them was essential. So they took it very fast, so seriously. And when I went to the cantina to buy coffee,
En als ik naar de
the
kantine
man
ging,
called to me, Mr. Carlos, I have my dice of
dan
peace.
zei de kantinemevrouw, Mr. Carlos, ik heb mijn dobbelsteen, kijk.
Everywhere they try to live the dice of peace.
Overal begonnen ze de dobbelsteen te leven.
Very soon other schools in Cairo, they start to call me.
Ook op andere scholen in Cairo
We want the dice of peace.
vroegen ze naar de dobbelsteen.
So I understood that I have to make a
En
project.
ik begreep dat ik een project
Dat I call
moest
Living
beginnen. En
Peace.
dat project noemde ik Living Peace en dat betekent vrede leven.
Why? Because I told my students,
Ik vertelde aan mijn kinderen,
peace is not something that you
vrede
or
is
or
niet
me,
iets
we
wat
can
jij-
do.
Wat jij doet, wat we kunnen
Peace is
fabriceren.
something that we can live.
Dat is iets wat we kunnen leven.
And the real peace starts here,
En echte vrede begint
my
hier
heart.
in mijn hart.
when I love.
Als ik lief heb.
At the beginning, the dice of peace start with elementary school. But after a few months, middle school and high school, and then universities. We have more than 100 universities that they have their own dice of peace. That is a white dice of peace. And after a dialogue, sharing their ideas about which values they want to live for peace, they decided for 1 month, 6 values they write in the faces of the dice. And the months after, they renew a new dice of peace with new six values. But the fantastic thing that today we have prisons that they have also the dice of peace, and the prisoners in their cells, they have the dice, they throw the dice to know how to live for peace. And this year we received a call from Philadelphia in United States of America, a psychiatric clinic. They also start creating the therapeutic dice of peace, especially for people with depression or aggressivity or people who have problems with the drugs. So they create 8 different models of dice of peace just to make their own therapy. So today there's no age for the dice. Even the old people's home, they are using also the dice of peace. Even convent monasteries, sometimes I receive pictures of them with their dice of peace and they write their experiences, how they are living for peace through those sentences. One day something very important happened.
Maar op een dag gebeurde er iets
Students
belangrijks.
15 years old,
Er waren kinderen, leerlingen van
they
15,
came to me with a
15
great
jaar.
idea.
En die kwamen,
They were so enthusiastic.
die waren zo enthousiast.
Oh, Mr. Carlos, we
Mr.
have a good
Carlos, We
idea.
hebben een fantastisch
We
idee.
want to write to all
We gaan
presidents
een brief
around the
schrijven
world.
naar alle presidenten in de wereld.
The presidents?
presidenten.
What for?
Ik zei, waarom?
He said, we want to tell them that we
willen
have the
ver-
dice of peace.
we vertellen
That
hun
we live for peace.
Over
That
de dobbelsteen en dat we voor de vrede
they
leven.
were so happy
En ze
and
waren
so
zo
enthusiastic.
enthousiast.
I told them, okay, write the
ik
letter,
zei,
we will
"Oh."
send it.
Oké, schrijven we die brief toe. En we sturen hem.
We sent more than 100
We
emails.
stuurden meer dan 100 mails.
And you know what happened?
En weet je wat er gebeurde?
10 days after the first answer
10 dagen later kwam het eerste antwoord binnen.
was the President of
Het
United
was de
States of
president
America
van de Verenigde Staten, Obama,
and his
en
wife
zijn vrouw,
a personal letter
een persoonlijke brief.
saying that
En die
nothing and no one have to
Dat
stop
niets
us.
of niemand jullie kan stoppen. mag
Because,
stoppen.
he wrote,
Want hij
you
zei,
start a way of peace education.
Jullie jullie hebben een weg gevonden van vredesopvoeding.
Yeah, and an aspect, a very important aspect, is to share the experiences that they are living. So we stop 10 minutes before we leave the school, we stop the lesson, and we share our experiences, how we practice the rule of the day. And well, after a while, we start having a diary of peace, where when they won, they could write their experiences. We create a box, like the box, a letter box, but just to put inside the experiences that they have done at school. They wrote it and they put, and sometimes we open the box just to read there. But not only that, very often we share this experience with another school, from another city, from another country, just to feel that they were building this new culture of peace with youth, with kids, from all around the world. Mm-hmm. And it was very nice every moment, every time that experience from outside, from Europe, from Africa, from South America, came to our class, arrived to our class, and we read it to the students, no? And they recognize, wow, this is the same dice that we are living, mm-hmm. No? And the fantastic thing is when the schools from Saudi Arabia or Afghanistan or Kuwait, they call me to ask if they can write the sentences of the Quran, mm-hmm. in the dice. And some schools from Israel, they ask if they can write sentences from the Torah. Mm-hmm. And some churches, they ask that they would like to write sentences from the Gospels. And everyone found his own version of the dice. Mm-hmm. So we encourage everyone to make their own dice of peace. That's why we have the Muslim, the Jewish, the Chinese version, and incredible student from Buenos Aires in Argentina. They created the Braille vocabulary and on the dice for the blind people. So that even the people, the students that they cannot see, but they can live for peace. Mm. Some students from different countries, they prepare present for the student here. So I came with my suitcase, plenty of presents from Africa, from Portugal, from South America, from Asia, to deliver to each one of the schools that I visited. So for them was like to see concrete with their eyes concretely that this network of peace is real, mm-hmm. and they now are part of. Mm-hmm. No? So all of them, they ask you to write something or to make something to send to the other school. So already this new culture started in them, and it was so touching to see the students who came to thank me, to say so nice words and to say how important it was for them. Today one small lady, 10 years old, she said, I already love you so much, mister. And another one could tell me, it was very important lesson, not only for today, for all my life. The flag of Colombia.
En de vlag van Colombia op de achterkant.
But when they gave me this,
maar als ze me dit,
they asked me something.
Gaven, toen zeiden ze,
they say, Mr. Carlos, you had to make a picture
je moet een foto laten
that
maken,
you gave this to the students.
Dat we zien dat jij dit aan de kinderen hebt gegeven.
They were afraid that I would forget.
Ze wilden niet dat ik het vergat, dus ze
So
zeiden,
I will ask your teacher to come
we willen een
here.
foto zien dat jullie het echt doorgeven aan die kinderen.